In today's video, I'm going to show you how to lower your cortisol. If you feel wired but tired, constantly stressed, or you're struggling with stubborn belly fat, your cortisol levels are probably out of whack. And here's the thing, most people think cortisol is bad and they try to lower it without realizing that too little cortisol can be just as dangerous. So today, I'm going to break down the truth about cortisol, the biggest misconceptions, the signs of both high and low cortisol, how to actually balance it for better energy, focus, and body composition. Okay, so stick around because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to optimize your cortisol without wasting time on ineffective solutions. If you're new here, I'm Andrew Martin, a human biologist and health and performance coach. I help high-performing business owners take back control of their health using a root cause approach so that they can have more energy, more mental clarity, the body composition that they want to have, so that they can dominate in business and be present with their family. Cortisol is one of the most misunderstood hormones, and when it's out of balance, it can wreck your energy, your metabolism, your ability to grow muscle, and even impair your brain function. So let's dive right in. What is cortisol and why is it important? Cortisol is your body's main stress hormone, but it's actually not the enemy. It plays a huge, important role in energy regulation, keeping your blood sugar stable, metabolism, helping you break down fat and turn it into fuel, brain function, keeping you alert and focused, inflammatory control. Believe it or not, cortisol is actually anti-inflammatory. And so cortisol is supposed to follow this natural rhythm over the course of the day, right? It's supposed to be high in the morning, so when you wake up, it makes you feel alert and awake. And then it gradually drops throughout the course of the day and is the lowest at night so you can go to sleep and recover. The problem is that chronic stress, poor recovery, and lifestyle habits can throw this rhythm for a loop, okay? So there are a few common misconceptions when it comes to cortisol. So before we go and try to fix it, let's clear up the two most common misconceptions. Number one, cortisol is bad and you should always lower it. It's wrong. We need a healthy balance of cortisol. Cortisol is massively important. Number two, high cortisol means that you're stressed. Not always. Some people have low cortisol from long-term stress or a number of other issues that eventually lead to adrenal insufficiency where their body does not produce enough cortisol. So how do you know if you have high or low cortisol? Well, if you have high cortisol, you might feel wired and tired, which is when you're tired all day, but then all of a sudden you can't wind down or turn off your thoughts at night. You have stubborn belly fat. Even if you have a good diet and you exercise, you just can't seem to lose the midsection belly fat right around the waistline. Anxiety and mood swings, maybe you're easily overwhelmed. Cravings for sugar and caffeine, right? These cravings for quick energy fixes are also a sign of high cortisol. If you have low cortisol though, you might experience completely different symptoms, okay? So brain fog and low motivation are signs of low cortisol. Everything might feel like a struggle in your day. Low blood pressure and dizziness, especially when you stand up or stand up quickly. Low blood sugar and blood sugar crashes where you might get shaky or irritable or feel lightheaded, okay? So those are signs of low cortisol. So hopefully that helps you figure out which camp you might fall into so that you can figure out if you need to raise it or if you need to lower it, or maybe you need to do nothing. Now, most people think that their cortisol issues are really just about stress, but the reality is they're influenced by a number of factors, your lifestyle, your environment, how well your body recovers. So let's dig into what's actually impacting your cortisol levels. And the first thing is lifestyle factors. Overworking, lack of sleep, excessive caffeine, and being always on, these are a few very common things for high performers that are impacting their cortisol. Number two is environmental stressors. So toxin exposure, like poor air quality, mold, EMFs, they all add to your body's stress load, right? Number three is recovery and sleep. So poor sleep habits can keep cortisol high at night and make it low in the morning, which is going to make you feel exhausted, okay? Number four, exercise and overtraining. If you are exercising and you're doing too much intensity, too much high intensity training, that can increase your stress because it's stress in the body. Exercise is a stressful activity. It's a good stressor, but when you overdo it, it can end up being a bad stressor as well. And if you're not able to recover from it, well, we're going to end up with chronically high cortisol. You can also be doing too little exercise, and that's because activity in general, just physical activity, can lead to appropriate levels of cortisol. So if you're not moving your body enough, you can end up with low cortisol and a sluggish metabolism as a byproduct. Number five is allopathic stress load. So allopathic stress load is essentially the total cumulative stress on the body, right? And things like infections, gut issues, hidden inflammation, these can all add to your total stress load or your allopathic stress load. And so we have to consider all those factors when we're talking about how this is impacting, how stress is impacting your cortisol. Okay, so now that we've covered what cortisol is, why it matters, and the signs of imbalance, let's dive into how you can actually fix it. Right? Whether your cortisol is too high from chronic stress or too low from burnout, these strategies are going to help you bring you back into balance and get your cortisol into a more appropriate range. The first thing is lifestyle adjustments, right? We got to stop feeding the cycle of stress. One of the biggest contributors to chronically high cortisol is the modern grind culture, right? The feeling that you're always need to be working, pushing towards something, you're always on. But if you never turn it off, your body is never going to get a chance to recover. So you've got to set firm work-life boundaries to give your body the down regulation time that it needs. You can do that by scheduling real breaks, right? Where you're not actually working, where you put your phone down, you're unplugging in the evening, you stop answering emails at 10 p.m., right? You have to unplug a little bit. Next, you can reduce screen time at night as well, especially from your phone or your computer, because we know that blue light exposure after sunset is going to suppress melatonin and keep cortisol elevated, right? When it should be dropping. It should be dropping at night. So a simple fix to that is to use blue light blocking glasses or just turn your phone on to night mode devices, right? And ideally, we unplug from those devices in general a little bit before bedtime anyway. Lastly, make sure you cut off caffeine by noon. Caffeine is going to spike your cortisol as well. And if you're consuming it late in the day, it's going to disrupt natural cortisol rhythms and it's going to make it harder to wind down at night and get to sleep appropriately, which just makes the loop even worse. Number 2 is prioritizing recovery and sleep, because this is the foundation of all hormone balance, right? Cortisol follows the natural rhythm that we talked about, where it's highest in the morning and lowest at night. But if your sleep is broken, so is your cortisol cycle. So to reset this, we got to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. It has to be high quality sleep every night. And that means getting to bed and waking up at consistent times. That is massively important for cortisol regulation, that regularity and consistency. It means sleeping in a cool, dark room, no screens at least 30 to 60 minutes before bed, and essentially just giving your body the best chance to get the stages of sleep that we need deep in REM sleep, right? The next thing you can do here is build a wind down routine to signal to your body that it's time to shift into rest mode and get to sleep. So you can try dimming the lights in your house, reading, doing some light stretching, listening to some calming music, and you can do those things instead of scrolling on your phone, okay? Morning sunlight exposure is also key to cortisol regulation here as well. So we want to get 10 to 15 minutes of natural light within 30 minutes of waking directly in our eyes, because we know that this helps regulate our circadian rhythm and signals to your body to start boosting cortisol in the morning naturally and kind of kickstart that natural rhythm that needs to happen. This is also going to make your cortisol lower at night, because that rhythm is happening in the morning, where we get that big cortisol awakening response where that cortisol spikes and then it should fall off and stay low throughout the day. But if that doesn't happen in the morning, a lot of times the cortisol is impacted at night. Okay. And so if you want more details on how you can use sleep to improve your cortisol, I have a whole video on sleep on my page. I'll link it here and you can dive deep into optimizing your sleep as well. Number 3 is breathwork and nervous system regulation. Most people live in a fight or flight mode all day long, right? And when our body perceives constant threats, whether it be from work stress, financial pressure, over-exercising, it's going to keep your cortisol levels high. A simple but powerful way to calm your nervous system is through breathwork, because we know it activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which tells your body to relax and start lowering your cortisol levels naturally. So my favorite method here is something called box breathing, and I do the 4-4-4 method. And so you inhale for 4 seconds. This is all through your nose. Inhale for 4 seconds, then you hold your breath for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you hold your breath for 4 seconds. And then you're going to repeat that for 2 to 3 minutes. Again, that is all through your nose. If you want a more advanced strategy for better recovery and sleep, then you can use a longer exhale. So it'd be 4 seconds in and 6 seconds out. We know a longer exhale helps shift your body into that recovery mode and makes it easier to unwind and produce cortisol as well. Number 4 is smart supplementation, okay? Now, I want to make it very clear that supplements are not the key here, right? We have to have our lifestyle habits and routines in place before supplements are going to make a difference, right? So, lifestyle changes should always come first. And the right supplements, they can help. They can be a game changer, and they can be important. That said, I'm not going to recommend any in this video because I don't actually know what your individual problem is. I don't know if your cortisol is high. I don't know if it's low. I don't know what the root cause of your cortisol dysfunction is without seeing any more labs from you, right? And I don't want to make guesses with you. So, you've probably seen things like ashwagandha, magnesium, phosphatidylserine, and electrolytes. These things are often recommended to people, And they can be right for the right person in the right situation, but for some people, they can actually make it worse, which is why I don't really want to talk about supplements in this section here, because, if you're watching this video and you don't get it right, taking a supplement may actually make the problem, more severe for you, okay? So if you want more targeted help here and, as far as like what the right supplements are for you, this is a part of what we do in our coaching program. We do use supplements as part of our protocols for people. And you can get started just by taking a free assessment with the link in the description here. Okay. Number 5, gut health and inflammation control. This is the key to keeping your cortisol in balance. Most people don't realize how connected their cortisol and their gut health are, and they're deeply connected. We know chronic inflammation, poor digestion, or unhealthy gut microbiome can keep your cortisol levels dysregulated for a long period of time. So to support gut health and help regulate cortisol, we can do a few things. Number 1 is eat a whole food anti-inflammatory diet, right? Focus on lean proteins, healthy fats, plenty of fiber. We can avoid processed foods like seed oils or excess sugar, right? These are gonna fuel inflammation, cause cortisol spikes. We can use probiotics or prebiotic rich foods depending on what's going on in your gut, right? Those things can be helpful. Again, those things can hurt, so you have to be careful here. So, you have to make sure that you're not like dealing with severe gut issue before you go and do that. But for most people, fiber, fermented foods, these things can be really helpful. Resistant starches, they can really be helpful to improve your gut health and in turn, improve your cortisol response. We know that fixing your gut doesn't just help with digestion, it's also going to help balance your cortisol. And there are a ton of mechanisms. We're not going to dive deep into this video. I have plenty of other videos on gut health. But essentially, if we can lower our chronic inflammation coming from our gut and reduce some of these pathogens or overgrowths, infections in our gut, then we're going to effectively reduce our cortisol, or balance our cortisol, I should say, and get it back into the proper ranges that are healthy. If you're tired of feeling drained or wired but tired, struggling to lose fat, dealing with brain fog, your cortisol, again, is probably out of balance. And the best way to fix it is to stop guessing and start actually addressing the real problem, right? And that starts with the customized assessment. It's exactly why I created the Precision Health Assessment. It's 100% free. It'll help you identify what your top hormonal and metabolic roadblocks are, so you know exactly where to focus to get the best results. And if you'd like to go through it, just click the link in the description, choose a time to meet with me to review your assessment results. We'll do that for free, and then the assessment will automatically send over to you and you can fill it out. And if you have any labs, blood work, or any other labs done recently that you want reviewed, I will review them for free as well, so you can upload those right after you fill out the assessment. Hope to see your assessment come through, and if I don't, totally cool as well. I hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, drop a comment with your biggest takeaway, and I'll see you in the next one.